So we are talking today about tech adoption, integrating digital innovations with physical presence. We have seen, of late, we have seen that the integration of digital and physical, or the word omni-channel, or the word unicommerce, or the word, and the jargons are going on and on. But ultimately, what is happening in today's world is everything is melting, and there is no difference between digital and physical. It is phygital, and we know that. But here we are going to talk about what digital innovations that we have been, the industry is undergoing today, along with the physical presence also. And this we are going to look at it from a very business and a tech perspective, and how the things are changing and what the brands are doing to cope up with that, and what kind of innovations they are coming up with. I have a very esteemed panel out here today, and at the onset I would request all the panelists to give a brief introduction about the brand and about themselves. We start with Adosh.
Yeah, thanks Hitesh. Great to be here. I represent IKEA. We've been in the country in the retail operations for more than 5 years now. We've got 4 operating stores, and we plan to expand in a much more aggressive way to reach more of the many in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm Adosh. I lead expansion and commercial for the country.
Hi, this is Vijay, representing Levi's. We've got, so Levi's India has got about 400 plus exclusive brand outlets in India, about 2,500 plus touch points across multiple retailers. A lot of you are wearing formals, but if you were wearing denim, then there's probably a 2/3 chance that you're probably wearing a Levi's, right? So I had merchandise planning and inventory management for Levi's Asia. So that's briefly about me.
Hello everybody, this is Ganeshan. I lead retail and consumer products and a couple of other verticals in IBM. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me in the panel, Hitesh.
Hi everyone, my name is Lavanya. For people who do not know, I head the Zivame business. Zivame is the #1 D2C brand when it comes to women's lingerie. We are truly omni in a lot of ways, because we started obviously as a digital first company, but today we have equal online and offline presence, and I'm very happy to be part of this session. Thanks to RAI for inviting me.
Pleasure. I start with Adosh. Adosh, have you seen any major change in the way the Indians shop from IKEA vis-a-vis the global markets? And if those changes are, what are the major changes, and what insights can you derive from there?
Sure. That's a very interesting question, because we've been in the furniture business more than 80 years now globally. And India is definitely a market where we see a long-term presence. In India, what we see particularly keenly is that accessibility, reach are 2 areas that are very, very important if we want to reach more of the many. Then I think the role of technology, which is just not from a back end, but also making retail more experiential. That makes it very important, because technology for us is not just about support, but also about making it more convenient and making it more interactive to people to shop. Another one that we feel in India is very important is in the technology, it is the app versus the website. We find app to be a much more active platform for people to buy and shop on than the website. And then definitely at the end, we find services, which is something that relates to convenience. How do you make it easy for people to shop in a category like furniture? That becomes very important. Taking cues and learnings from here, what we've done is that we've revamped our entire strategy for India, where we are now looking at a strategy of 1 click 30 minutes away, where online is not just, like you very correctly said, it's not a multi-format operation. It's not a multi-channel. It's actually in the true sense an omni-channel retail, where online becomes one of our forefront platforms to really expand the business in India, while at the same time we come with smaller stores and formats so that we can be accessible to all the customers within 30 minutes. So that addresses the thing on access and technology in many ways that we're bringing in to make it more experiential.
In fact, to carry on to this 1 click 30 minutes away, what made you, take a decision, because we all are used to IKEA stores which are humongous, and coming up with a smaller store strategy and one click 30 minutes. Why this 30 minutes? What's the logic behind 30 minutes? It can be 3 hours also.
Yeah, exactly. I think times change. Back in the day when IKEA was started, way back in early 50s, we had what we call as the potato fields, where people would make a fun day out for the whole family, which still remains. We still promote a lot of the fun day out, because in IKEA, when you come in, it's not just about furniture shopping. We provide free active play facilities for kids, which are monitored. We have a great restaurant where you can enjoy the meatballs and local dishes. But at the same time, we figured out that there is a mental block in people when they travel, and traveling around for shopping needs to be reachable and reachable easily. And knowing our traffic woes, for those of us who live in Bangalore, I think we always like to reach places faster. And hence, with that in mind, we said, why don't we look at our points of interaction, whether stores which are large or small, to be within a 30-minute distance. Because the minute you breach that, you're mentally blocking people to say, so it's going to be far off. So that's where the 30 minutes came in.
Excellent. See, IKEA, I would have never imagined 30 minutes IKEA when IKEA was launched in Hyderabad, years back. Okay, we are going to have, but this is the beauty, and this is how strategy evolves, and you have to take decisions, and this is a fantastic one, which will serve hundreds and thousands of consumers who would like to be, purchasing from IKEA.
Exactly. We had 30-kilometer jams when we launched IKEA Hyderabad. And we took our learnings from there. We didn't want it to be so inconvenient for people. So now we rather want it to be 30 minutes within which they can come and experience the stores.
Good. Thanks. I will come back to Adosh. My question to Vijay is, everybody, okay, who in this room doesn't own a Levi? Okay. See, Vijay.
Is that the question? I'm done.
It says, but no, but I want to ask more about it, and what's the magic that everybody in this room has at least one pair of Levi. So how does Levi, leverage the customer data to personalize and improve the customer satisfaction? Because all of us are at least once in our lifetime, and maybe more or many times, I can bet on that, are buying or have bought from Levi's. But how do you leverage data for these insights and customer satisfaction?
Yeah. So great question. So first of all, I think when you think Levi's, you think denim, you think bottoms, right? But let me start with a surprising fact. In Levi's, we sell more tops than bottoms. And in fact, our tops are growing much faster than our bottoms at this point in time, right? Now, how have we been able to do that is exactly through this question, which is how have we enticed the customer to buy more than just denim from our stores? So 3 or 4 ways in which we've done it. So the first, I would call, is simple sort of delight from a customer data perspective, which is that we capture information like, your date of birth, your anniversary, etc. We surprise you with sort of a 10% off, whatever it is, coupon during your anniversary birthday. So that's one piece in terms of the delight. The second piece is in terms of the entire customer retention journey. So we track consumers, the way they purchase, which stores they go into, how frequently they purchase, which channels are they using, etc. To make sure that we have relevant products, relevant offers to you at every point in time. Make sure that you don't attrite when you're about to attrite. So that's the second piece, which is around customer retention. The third piece is really where I think we've made a big difference, which is what next. So most consumers that come into store come with the idea of buying denim. But the fact that we've been able to sell more tops than bottoms proves that we've done something here. And what is that something? Is that we have understood what works well for the customer from a costume perspective, in the sense that a head-to-toe look. So rather than just trying to sell you denim, we've tried to sell you the look in terms of what goes with that denim or what goes with this tech band that I'm wearing at this point in time, right? So that's led to better sales. We've used that data to sell you more of tops. So we know that more than bottoms, tops is a frequency driving category, and that's what gets you to store more and more. So given your past information in terms of what you might have liked, a slim fit shirt versus a regular fit shirt, white versus a blue, whatever that is. We have used that data to give you more and more of the material that you would actually love and therefore have increased sales from that perspective. The fourth way we've used consumer data is, remember I said we have 440 sort of exclusive brand outlets, 2,000 plus touch points, but there are still pin codes in India that we don't service through a physical store. So this is where we reach out to customers using our own website, which is levi.in, or partner with third-party marketplaces like Myntra, etc. We've used customer data to understand what are shopping patterns in terms of which are these postcodes where we are seeing demand coming from our online channels, and we've used that to do two things. One, think about our store expansion into those areas. So a good example is we now have a store in Junjunu. So I studied in BITS Pilani and I couldn't imagine having Levi's in that place, but we now have a store in Junjunu and that's come out of our customer data. We also curate the assortment to understand what actually works for that postcode and then provide that assortment accordingly. So that's how we do.
Excellent insights on how you can leverage customer data. These 4-5 points that Vijay mentioned, are a testimony of the success of this brand Levi in India. The last point that you spoke about Junjunu, can you just elaborate something more on that? How did you zero down exactly on that location? If you can take us through the process. This is not about the strategy, but the process part.
Yeah. So like I said, we have data from Levi.in and Myntra that tells us about where our customers are shopping from and what exactly they are purchasing, right? And we have pin codes that we are not able to service. So you spoke about one click 30 minutes away. We probably want to be 10 minutes away, but we can't be 10 minutes away to every customer possible. And there are postcodes that probably doesn't make sense to us because of things like sales per square foot perspective and stuff like that. But when we look at customer data and we see volumes coming through from a certain postcode, that's where we kind of think about where should we be putting our store next. Our business expansion teams work with sort of, the local high streets, etc., to figure out what's the right space, what's the right volume, all of that to kind of figure it out.
Actually, I wanted to ask the last question on this is, that means, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just thinking aloud, that all those pin codes from where I get maximum number of businesses, basis if it makes a good business sense, I'll be opening a physical store there, is the nutshell there.
Absolutely.
And that means the online sales from that pin code may go down, but that's okay.
No, so in fact, on the contrary, whenever we go put in a physical store into a postcode, our overall sales increases, not reduces. And this happens simply because as customers walk into our stores, feel products that they haven't seen before, so they might have shopped denim online, but now walk into a store, now start to see tops and the offer that we have in tops, or non-denim for that matter, the overall sales kinds of boosts up. So it's a win-win situation.
A win-win situation. Thanks, Vijay. Over to Lavanya before I go to Ganeshan. And Lavanya, you said that you have migrated from online to offline, and because the genesis of Zivame was online. How did this journey happen, and what were the informed decisions that you had taken, from migrating from online to offline? Because here it's kind of reverse. Normally all the retailers, majority of us have been from offline to online, but this is a classic case, so and that's of more interest to us, Lavanya.
Sure. So Zivame, we started about more than a decade old. Obviously started more as an online platform to solve poor shopping experience when it came to buying lingerie. Okay, so lingerie typically was always shopped in your nearby, like say called the MBO outlets, and women used to kind of go and buy, lingerie from there. So say probably the first 5 years we grew very fast online. The technology adoption, app. Say 5 years back, app adoption, people really moving into buying online spree was there, right? But what we understood was that the customers still had preference to have the touch and feel and fit of the product, so that plays a very, very important role. And even today, most of the women do not wear correct size when it comes into their lingerie. So, right, because it was always serviced by men. People were not asking questions on what are the alternates available, what are the different products which are available. So we actually first opened our experience store in Indiranagar here in Bangalore, where we allowed women to actually come and experience the product. We never had an intent to sell from there. It was like 1,000 square feet, great experience store where you could come, do your fit sessions, ask, and you could give recommendations on your size, what product to buy and all that. But what we realized there very quickly is that the customer wants to close the transaction after going through that experience and was not willing to wait. And this was obviously a couple of years back, where we were not delivering the next day or the next 30 minutes or 10 minutes, right? I'm just talking about a couple of years back. So they wanted to close the transaction. So what we first did is we converted the experiential store to a full-fledged retail store. And we saw great returns coming out in the first 3 months itself, where we had great customer walk-ins. We were able to kind of generate good amount of retail sale. And then we said, okay, we will first start expanding within Bangalore to see the customer adoption, especially an online brand moving into offline. How are the customers like going to kind of relate to us? We saw great success. And like the Levi story, we obviously had a lot of information available because we had like a rich data of actual D2C consumers for about 5 years. So we knew size preferences, we knew color preferences, we knew what kind of products were selling in each of those pin codes. And I always say India is a land of many countries, and for every few kilometers, even your preferences when it comes to fashion, your clothes also kind of change. So we used that data when we started doing first level infusion of inventory into the store. So I knew, what will sell more? Is it non-padded? Is it wired? Is it like curvy? What kind of products will kind of, so with that information, we were able to turn the stores profitable much faster because we had a rich amount of data on consumer preferences out there. First we did our highest expansion in Bangalore, then we moved into other south cities, and today we have more than 175 EBOs, and we are present more than 4,000 touch points, apart from being in all marketplaces. And obviously our main revenue comes from our own platform, which is Zivame.com. But it truly gave us the confidence to expand into all the channels and not only restricted to only retail when you come to own EBO.
Thanks, Lavanya. One point which I wanted to ask, and it can be an academic question, data for inventory. We all use data for our inventory, but where is the room for innovation when this comes? Because you have taken the previous data to come up with the size, the color, and the preferences that you said. But how much new innovations can come and add on to that inventory or that new product?
Today, if I talk about, I think so Zivame is also known for their product innovation to a large extent. We have very less women in the room, but we actually try to solve what is the customer pain point, what she's facing from her experience. What's the problem she has? Does she have a sag, or does she need, say a strapless? So we kind of understand the consumer and try to get innovation. Today also, more than 40% of our revenue in our stores come from innovation. So there is always room for innovation, and customers are looking for newer solutioning. They are looking for newer silhouettes. They are looking for, newer possibilities, whether it can be in fashion or functional, but there's always room for innovation.
Yes, there is always room for innovation, and we have approximately 30 women in this room. So with this, I would like to go to Ganeshan. Ganeshan, what is, and it's a very simple, basic question, what is the importance of technology for a retailer today? And from an IBM's perspective, what are those technological innovations that you see are the present and the future of retail?
So there are numerous technological innovations. Before I get there, I just want to talk about what needs to be done. We've always been in this online versus offline, multi-channel, omni-channel. Now we're talking about hybrid retail. So let me just unpack it a little bit and then get to the technology part, right? So customers will shop what they want, anywhere, anytime. Okay, that's given. So retailer is one who's going to enable it. So we live in a world when we compete with, retailers compete with CPG players because of the direct-to-consumer and all those initiatives. And why would a customer come to a retailer? It is for customer experience. It is for enabling the customer to buy what they want in any which fashion they want, right? So typical shopping journey, if you take, it starts with, learn about the product, identify the need, and then shop. You search for the right product, then buy, right? So across these three stages, there are multiple touch points. There is social media, there is YouTube, there is influencers, there is web, there is mobile apps. So there are multiple channels. How do you enable the customer to move across these channels, mix and match different channels at different stages, and to get to what they want, right? So this is hybrid retail, according to us. So all this omni-channel, online, offline, is finally leading to a hybrid in which you are enabling customer to shop whichever way, whatever time the customer wants to buy, right? Multiple technologies are, you got augmented reality, virtual try-on, shop the look, right? Shop, complete your look, and the various technologies are available. So the AR and AI and all these technologies have, they are there. There are plenty of those in the market. How do you actually create a workflow? By weaving all these technologies to enable customer to do this. I think that's the key purpose. That's the intent of hybrid retail. And just to take a case in point, right? If a customer looks at a YouTube and likes a certain clothing, and wants to buy, takes a snapshot, uploads it in some app, and gets product recommendation, then kind of researches around the product, but finally still not convinced about placing the order, goes to the nearby store, and then places the order, gets it delivered, right? This is a classic, the typical workflow of how this could happen. So how do you embed technology, right? How do you integrate the technologies, be it your CRM, ERP, and your web front store, right? And your mobile apps, and all of these to actually work together and enable the customer to do it is what the key challenge is, right? Technologies are there, technologies are plenty, and particularly these AR and AI technologies are actually dominating, but it is about how do you know that who's the customer, who has done what, right? For that, it's important for you to know what the customer activity has been and know the customer activity across these multiple channels. I think that's key.
Know the customer across the multiple channels, that's the key. And Ganeshan did speak about the challenges. With challenges, I want to go to Adosh. What were, or can you, talk about any major challenge that IKEA has faced in their omni-channel, in adopting the omni-channel journey, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Yeah, I think starting first was our store concepts, our physical store concepts. We've always had, like we mentioned earlier, the large store concepts. So we had to go away from that and make smaller concepts so that we could be closer to the many. I think that was the first one that we understood. When we came on to the web, like I said, we understood that as against the world average, where people use more web than app, India is the outlier where the app is more than the web. So then you need to create an experience on the app that is as good as the web or maybe better, and then also then create it in a way which is more seamless. So people don't see a differentiation in the shopping experience that they have in the store versus what they see on the app. And then I think the big one for us was the dependence on services. Globally, we've always been known as the brand that helps you or makes you do stuff on your own. I think all of us have probably seen those cartoons where you come for the IKEA interview, where the table is completely open and you need to assemble it on your own, though we don't do it in principle. But what happened was that was the entire philosophy which we built on, was to do it yourself, You do your part, we do ours. But I think there has been a paradigm shift where we believe that now services is an integral part of the offer itself. So that in India has been more profound, where you need to provide a very strong service platform for customers to feel that convenience and that ease of shopping into a category which is still picking up into their lifestyles. So those were some of the challenges, and that's how we're building it up. In this, technology has played a major role for us, and that's what we're building on now.
Sure. The app versus website, you know, if you can elaborate something more and how it's different, but how important is an app for an organization or a brand like yours? You know, because you spoke about experience, service, etc. But not every brand, you know, and who builds an app will be that successful. How much challenge was for you to make the app a success?
Oh, it was very challenging because, again, like I said, globally, IKEA sells more on the web. And it's other brands also in the same category that sold more on the web. But we had a few Asian countries where the app was more strong. And then first to have your internal stakeholders align with the fact that app needs much more attention and needs to be much more dynamic and much more in trend with how people shop was a big one. It took us a couple of years, and I think we are now on the journey to address that. So that was the first one. Then I think the second thing is about generally across in retail, you need to understand that it's moving from transaction to experience. And how do you bring that experience onto the app was the second challenge. Because so far when you look at most apps, it's predominantly transactional. So that was the next challenge, and we are still on the journey there. But there are a lot of tools that we use. We use AR a lot. There's something called as the IKEA Place, where you can actually use your furniture and place it into a virtual room setting to understand how the furniture will look in the real life or in a virtual setting for you. That makes it convenient for you to even imagine how the setting will look like. So those are some of the small things that we are trying, and the journey continues to see how the app can actually be built as a strong platform for us.
Thanks. Thanks, Adosh. Vijay, can you share some insights? No, Adosh spoke about AI. How Levi has used AI and IoT to enhance its omni-channel strategy.
Sure. So just by background, I am a data science guy who by mistake stepped into a business role. No, it's not a mistake, but I think the reason I say this is because a lot of people, when they think AI, they think of AI as a separate department sitting in the corner, some brainy, geeky guy is doing something on a computer and something comes to life. Reality is now technology and AI is so much more integrated into the business that business folks also need to be upskilled from what AI can do and can't do. So let me share 3 or 4 quick examples of what Levi's has done. So the first is dynamic pricing. So if you go onto our website, we were just sharing notes that people love clothes, but what they love even more is discount on those clothes, right? So, whenever we have to sell more, obviously we've got to get the right pricing on these clothes. Now, if you go to our website, the art and the beauty is to convince you to buy the product at the right price. Now, therefore, you've got to change prices dynamically very quickly for consumers to respond to that, right? Now, earlier there used to be an army to do it. Now we have completely sort of used AI to automate that entire process. We now have the ability to change prices on our website as well as Myntra, which is our marketplace, almost on an hourly basis if needed in terms of price by taking into account variables like who the customer is, what they've shopped before, what is the sell-through of the product, and so on and so forth, right? So that's one example of where AI has been implemented. The second example is, again, going back to our store network, we have 440 plus stores. Each store carries an assortment of roughly about 500, I'd say, what we call options or SKUs. We were talking about the fact that North India shops very different from South India. I can tell you even within Bangalore, Indiranagar shops very different from, let's say, I don't know, some other place in Bangalore or whatever it is. So the idea is that each store needs to have what I would call a personalized assortment to cater to a group of customers in its catchment. So this is personalization at a store level. Now, we used to have buyers in the past who used to plan buying at a store level, which is for each of our 440 stores, would look at all of the offering that we would have and think about which of those offerings I should keep in my store and at what depth. We now have a complete AI program that takes over that, which tells you by store how many options we should buy, what should be those options, what should be the depth of assortment. And I'm really happy to tell you, and that's why I got this role, by the way, as the merchandise planning and inventory management guy, is because the algorithm that we built actually worked, and I said, okay, now I better take up the business role. So that's the second use case. The third use case is from a customer personalization perspective. I think we spoke about personalization. We use personalization in various angles to get you to buy on the right channel, to get you to buy into the right store. So let me give you an example of how we entice customers to move from one store to another. In Bangalore, we've got about 15 stores spread across all of Bangalore. We know that there are customers that go to their store, right? For example, my store is in Whitefield, next is Shantiniketan Mall. We know that store is a small store, does not offer everything that Levi's can offer you as a customer. Now, how do I entice you to move to, let's say, our flagship store in Brigade Road or in Indranagar? I send you offer-specific, emails, SMSs, WhatsApps, etc., to say this is the range that we offer, and by the way, if you're there, take 10% off on our behalf. So that's another example of where we've used personalization to really entice customers to move from, smaller format stores to bigger format stores, because that increases units per transaction as we kind of look at that. Number 4 is, again, looking at our store network. What we do effectively is in-season consolidation. Now, we can use all the AI we want, but we will always get it wrong in terms of how many units of a certain option will sell in a store. There are certain stores where an option will do really well, certain other stores where the option will do really badly. Therefore, what we do in season is a consolidation process where we look at 600 options multiplied by 400 stores, look at the performance of each of that, and think about how do we effectively move this option to a store where we believe it will sell. This is again a completely automated process that takes into account forecasting and stuff like that to determine where should we send that option to in order to maximize sell-through. So these are 4 examples, and I could go on, but these are 4 examples that we've implemented.
Awesome. Dynamic pricing, personalization at the store level, customer personalization, and consolidation. These were, ask add-on question on the offer part from the customer personalization perspective. That, data has the ability to shift the customer buying preference from one store to another. And this, you do it obviously after a lot of deliberations and not this. But how does the customer treat this? What is your feedback? Does the customer who stays in the north, if I'm being offered a good offer for the south Levi place, will I go from north to south? In your, and this is just an example, in your case, have you seen the shift in the customer when these kind of offers happen? Yeah, how does he behave? How does the customer behave?
Yeah, so the shift happens. Of course, we don't want all our customers from Whitefield to shift to Indranagar, right? So there is a proportion of customers that we offer it, and there is a timing aspect to this, which is that if we notice that your frequency is, let's say, once in every 6 months, and you're probably not coming in after that, you're probably not coming in because you bought your denim and you're not excited by the range or whatever it is. It is then when we start to place these interventions to pull you into these different stores. Now, there's a counter to this, which is that if as a customer, this also offers insights into the assortment that we should place into our Whitefield store. Now, if we have a customer in Whitefield that has shopped a certain piece of assortment in Indranagar that's not there in Whitefield, next season we could actually push it into Whitefield, right? So that is the other part of this.
Excellent. Using data at its best. And this is a very interesting example, Vijay. Over to you, Lavanya. What strategies Zivame has, employed to ensure a seamless customer experience, throughout the channels?
Started as an online brand, I think. So the first big channel, first big difficulty or challenge what we faced was on pricing. Because when you're an online brand, the first thing you associate is discount. and an offline discount is something which you get only during EOSS, right? Or typically some sale season. I think so the biggest challenge what through the offline expansion what we faced was how to ensure pricing and same pricing across all channels. So today if you actually buy Zivame, irrespective of channel what you buy, you will get same pricing. You know, the product which is available in the retail store for $16.95 will be available in online also for $16.95. If there is a product for 600 bucks, that'll be available at 600 bucks, whether you shop on Myntra, Jio, or on Zivame.com. So I think so pricing, maintaining uniform pricing is one of the key so that the consumer has the confidence to shop irrespective of where they're shopping. At least and lingerie is a core product, unlike a very high fashion product. So I would say that first thing what we really did well was to have the same pricing engine across all the you know, like all the channels. That's one thing which we ensured customer seamless experience. The second thing what we saw was that when people were shopping online, they were not able to find out their fit. So we developed something called a fit code where you actually answer a couple of 6 questions which leads you to tell what's your size. What we call the fashion advisor in the store does for you. So she measures and she does recommendation. We built that knowledge of the fashion advisor into our platform, which is Zivame.com. So she can go, she can just take a fit code test. By answering 6 questions, she can actually find her size. Once she takes the fit code test, it will start recommending products basis the fit code test, whatever you have taken. So it's a seamless experience because there it was somebody doing it, but here a fit code or technology is able to kind of address that issue for you, right? One more thing what happened, whenever we think about retail store, there is always limited inventory what will be available in the retail store, but you can have an endless aisle when it comes to your platform, right? Because I can have endless aisle. I'm not restricted. I can display how much of a products I have the ability on a platform, right? So if she went to the store, either she didn't get what was available, or she didn't get her size, she didn't get the color she wanted, there was always that flexibility to order online, and we would ship it across to her residence or, you know, choice of her location. So that created, so today also about 15% of our store revenue comes from online sales, where the customer places the order. So it does 2 things. One is while she experiences retail, she also experiences the benefit of shopping over app. We also encourage people, even retail shoppers, to actually download our app, because communication and extra education, what Zivame is really known for, is best done through the app. So they come to know about offers, they come to know more about product launches, more personalization for her body profile, what are the products which are available, what are the seasonal stuff which we are doing. So all this helps us to kind of create a seamless experience for the customer, whether they shop online or offline.
Thanks. Ganeshan, the next question is to you. How can the retailers use data-driven insights, you know, to plan their and take more informed decisions to plan their inventory and other offerings?
I'll actually walk you through the work that we did in terms of developing an asset called fashion.ai, which we are using across multiple fast fashion retailers. You know, in fast fashion, you drop, you know, new inventory every 2 weeks, every month, right? And we live in a 52 season, right, year, and the objective is to drop every week, right? That's how fast it is. And in that, the issue is, by the time you hit the store, right, what if your product is no longer relevant, right? So how how do you guess that? I mean, right now it is guesswork. It is feedback from, fashion, enthusiasts, from fashion designers and influencers and so on, right? We brought some science into it. What we did was, across the stores, we looked at which products are selling, and what are the attributes of those products. And what is the future trends are going to be like? Which particular design, neck or, fit is actually trending, right? So we analyzed large volumes of data. Again, AI comes in. This is called explainable AI. So AI models are typically deep learning models of black box. You don't know what exactly it is. It builds a correlation between input and output. But if you have to explain, you need to apply a layer of explainable AI on top of it. And you will be able to explain, color, texture, neck, fit, sleeve, all of this. What is the influence does it have on the full price sell-through, which is the key measure. When you drop the product, it should be able to sell at full price, and your markdown should be less and clearance should be zero, right? That's the objective with which we are working. So we used explainable AI models to come up with this kind of a solution. So this is actually a forecasting tool, but this can also be used for planning and product design.
Excellent. Ganeshan, what do you, as per you, what are the major challenges that the retailers are facing today from adopting these technologies?
Well, the first thing is data. Data is a key enabler, right? When I say data, it's not just the internal sales data, it is the product information. It is external data, right, on the demographics, shift in trends, and so on. So how do you bring this data together, breaking all the silos? And that's the key stepping stone, right? On top of which you are in a position to build an AI model, right? So bringing data together, there were, technologies such as data lake, but data lake became a dumping yard, right? You bring all the data and dump it, and your ability to process the data, analyze, and come up with meaningful, insights takes a longer time. So how do you shorten this cycle? So there's new technology called data virtualization and data lakehouse, right? In which you bring all the data together, but you are able to abstract those information, and you are able to process it quickly, and then build meaningful insights on top of it, right? So this is some of the data technologies. Once you have the data, you need to have the right kind of AI models. So now you have the generative AI, which is giving highest levels of accuracy, human-like response. How do you build the enabling platforms for the store associates, customer-facing team, to actually enable them with the information required to assist customers in the buying process? Right? Customers are coming to the retailers, like I said, for the advice, for helping them choose the right product. How do you enable that, right? Be it a lingerie, or be it a fashion product or a furniture, customers actually going to need that, value that. Now, we have all heard about this famous case study between Best Buy and Amazon, right? How Best Buy used the stores and the advice it gave to the customers through store associates to differentiate and gain market share. That's becoming more and more important. And the barrier to implementing that, it's easier said than done, because you don't have the kind of technology to quickly build that information, that application which can deliver the information, right? But with Gen AI, it's become far simpler. You just define the format in which the information needs to be provided. The Gen AI can answer all the questions. In fact, an anecdote, right? I was shopping in one of the famous department stores in New York City, right? The famous one, many of you will know, right? I was in the luggage sections on the 9th floor. Yeah. They have their grand store, with those brass buttons and, Macy's, right? So on the 9th floor, there was only one associate. And I was looking at buying some luggage, right? Samsonite had its own, dedicated shop, whereas others were all like, lying around. But all sorts of brands were there. There's only one associate. If I have to even check the price, it's a luggage. I have to carry it and take it to the price checkpoint and get the price information. But the associate was too busy answering all the questions. Now, this is something that could have been easily automated, right? All that you need to have is put a robot, and it comes and says, hey, welcome to the store. What do you need? How can I help you? And you ask the question, and the AI engine queries the database and answers. As simple as that. You don't need human for this. You don't need to put people on the stores. for answering these kind of questions. And that's going to actually
Pension, dynamic pricing, changing hourly rates, personalization at the store level, at the customer level. We spoke about consolidation and stuff like that. But what our esteemed panel considers the most, and this is the gist of what this whole 1 hour deliberation was all about, is tech as the mainstream. So consider technology as a mainstream. You are a retailer, but you will have to consider technology at the core, is what I could figure out. People and culture are extremely important, without which the tech cannot work. So if you have tech at the mainstream, please develop people and the culture so that that tech works. Investment in data, and we have, in the past also we have discussed a lot about the importance of data. Levi's case study is an extremely important case study, which and a testament of what data can do. So investing in data is inevitable. Tech, engaging and simple. So again, it boils down to tech, but what that tech should be extremely engaging and very, very simple for all the stakeholders to use. Plus AI to AI plus is also a very important point out here. And start with the customer in the mind, and design for a wonderful, seamless experience. With this, I want to thank our esteemed panelists for sharing their wonderful insights. Thank you very much.